Detroit Pistons have a historically important season coming up, and not just to impress the fans, not to impress management, not to impress each other, but to impress potential free agent suitors. When you look at our team, we're a few pieces away from being ready for a championship, and I think you could say the same for a lot of different teams. But when you look at what we have, when we have Cade Cunningham, the Saddiq Beys, the Isaiah Stewarts, the Killian Hayes, the Isaiah Livers even on the bench, I mean, we have a very tremendous team that could fit around a potential superstar. And I'm not saying we're going to get like a Kevin Durant, but we could get a level player maybe below that. I think a player would want to come here. And I think that's with Jeremy Grant gone. I think that would get murky, especially with the cap situation. But when you look at a guy like Cade Cunningham, he can fit to whoever we get. And when we talk about the draft, I think that same way. We're at 5, and I'm not super worried. Troy Weaver could pick a forward in Keegan Murray, and I wouldn't be upset because he would fit well with Cade. He could pick Jaden Ivey, a ball, not really super ball dominant. He could play off ball as well, but a guy who is on ball more than not, and he would fit well next to Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham has that ability to just fit next to anyone and adapt his game, but still play at a tremendously high level. We saw it when he played with Jeremy Grant. We saw it when he played without Jeremy Grant. We saw it when he played with just Saddiq Bey, with just Killian Hayes. He's able to do that sort of thing. And if a star wanted to come in and be that number one option, I don't think I would be too worried about Cade Cunningham still getting his, because, I mean, even if his stats go down a little bit, he's still going to find a way to help our team if it's defensively, if it's by playmaking. There's so many different things he could do. I'm not worried about Cade. You look at a guy like Saddiq Bey. He's a guy who can play the 3 or the 4. And I don't know what star would not want to play with a Saddiq level player. And last year, Saddiq exceeded expectations by being able to score more inside than out as well. I mean, he did have that 50 piece against Orlando, but he did it by not just shooting threes. He did it by getting into the paint, being able to use his muscle. And I think that's why he could be a 4 in this league. And that's what makes us so appealing, is Saddiq can play 3 or 4, so we can get a big 3 or 4 in free agency. You look at a guy like Isaiah Stewart. He's the heart and soul of this team. He might not be our starter. He might be a bench guy, but you look at these past playoffs. Look at the teams in the conference finals. You look at the Mavericks. Their biggest guy who played basically was Dwight Powell at 6'8". You look at the Warriors, Kevon Looney, who's I think 6'8". You look at the Celtics, Robert Williams, who I'm pretty sure is 6'8", 6'9". And then who was the other team in there? I can't even remember who the other Eastern Conference team was. Was it the Heat? Yeah, it was the Heat with Bam Adebayo, who's 6'8", 6'9". So if you are Isaiah Stewart, you should be confident that you can perform in the playoffs. Obviously, he can't play above the rim like Robert Williams, but I mean, he still provides a lot to this team. And I think if you are a potential free agent, you look at this team and you say, I could find a really good fit here. You have a guy like Killian Hayes who can play defense and playmake. And as we get more scorers and as we play better, I think people will appreciate what he does. He might not live up to that 7th overall pick sort of thing, but he's still going to be a tremendous asset to this team. Even if he's just a defender playmaker off the bench, he can end games defensively, and I think you're not going to need him to score when you have a guy like Cade, Saddiq, another star, and then you add in this potential draft pick, whoever it could be. If it's a Jaden Ivey or a Keegan Murray, then Killian Hayes is going to be expected to score less, but hopefully he can do something. But if you're a Pistons fan, you should be really excited for this season because there's going to be stars watching our team. We already saw Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving talk about the Pistons and say how much they like what they're building. You look at Cade Cunningham and say, you have a 6'7" point guard, you're doing the right thing, who can especially break down defense and break down the defensive matchups in their entire plan. I don't know. I just think you should be very excited as a Pistons fan. Stars might want to come here soon.